DocTalk is brought to you by Merck Animal Health, the science of healthier animals.
Hey there folks, welcome to DocTalk. We're sure glad you joined us. I'm Dr. Dan Thomson and I'm going to be joined by Dr. Casey Olson, who's a ruminant nutritionist over in our animal science department. And we're going to talk about Sericea, lespedeza, and the control of it in our pastures. Thanks for joining us today.
As dependable as the sunrise, in dairy parlors, open pastures, on ranches and feed yards across America, a place where reputation is more than a name, where the science of healthier animals is a way of life. It's the responsibility that drives who we are and what we do. Every decision, every day. It's your livelihood and our responsibility.
Join us for the 4th annual Meeting Demand Sale at Gardner Angus Ranch, Monday, May 13th at 10 a.m. Up for sale are 173 20-month-olds and 250 bred commercial cows and heifers, including the complete dispersal of longtime Gardner customer YOLO Ranch. Catalog available at GardnerAngus.com. Register for online bidding at liveauction.tv. At Gardner Angus Ranch, you aren't just buying a breed, you are buying a brand backed by 4 generations of disciplined seed stock production. See you May 13th at the ranch.
Closed captioning brought to you by Vet Gun with Amel and new AMA Abamectin Vet Caps, the 1-2 punch against hornfly resistance from AgriLabs.
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Welcome to the show.
Always a pleasure, Dan.
Folks, this is Dr. Casey Olson, who's a professor here at Kansas State University, and he's a ruminant nutritionist and does a lot of work out in the field. He manages our cow-calf units, so it's one of the, you're looking at what? How many head of cattle that y'all manage?
Well, in a non-dry year, we try to shoot for about 450 cows and heifers, but we're like everybody else. The drought has hit us hard over the last 24 months. We're down to about 350.
It's a big operation, and managing this kind of operation is something that, Casey always has his boots on the ground and is practicing what he preaches when he's talking to us or teaching or his research, and we're very thankful for the things that you do, not only here at K-State, but what you're doing on a state and national level when it comes to drought and control. But today, we're going to talk about a new effort that y'all are embarking upon or have been embarking.
I'm excited about it.
Well, and you should be. It's the control of noxious weeds, and it's one I'm trying hard to be able to pronounce. Sericea lespedeza.
Sericea lespedeza is the name. Now, that plant is actually cultivated in the southeastern United States, and as such, we've had a lot of trouble getting the United States government very excited about funding research to treat it as a noxious weed. It first came to Kansas as a contaminant in things like CRP seed and soil bank seed, and it turns out that Sericea lespedeza really likes it here. The part about Sericea that's unmanageable, okay, it's got 3 ways that it can occupy space in native prairie. First of all, it's a prolific seed producer. One plant can produce as many as 30,000 seeds in a year. It's a very robust looking plant. It's got a huge canopy structure, so it tends to have a shading effect on plants that grow in its understory. And to top it all off, it has allelopathic properties. And that means that the plant actually secretes chemicals out of its roots that prevent germination of native seed and prevent normal growth of our native forage grasses.
So it gives you a bare patch then.
A bare patch that it soon fills up.
Yep.
Yeah, Mother Nature abhors a vacuum.
I'll be. So what does this plant, what what's it look like? I mean,
Well, it looks a little bit like an alfalfa plant on steroids. Okay, it's very large, but it has many fine leaves like alfalfa does. Produces a yellow to white to purple flower. And it's very hard to miss it if you've got an infestation level growth in one of your native pastures.
most of the issue with this is choking out the other and occupying, or is it something that's toxic?
Well, it actually does have mild toxic properties. It contains a compound called condensed tannin that, whether it's eaten by an animal or it remains in the plant, it binds protein. Okay, and when an animal ingests the plant, very quickly the rumen can become devoid of available nitrogen. Ruminal fermentation stops.
Cool. When we come back, we're going to talk about control of Sericea lespedeza with Dr. Casey Olson. Thanks for joining us.
Join us for the 4th annual Meeting Demand Sale at Gardner Angus Ranch, Monday, May 13th at 10 a.m. Up for sale are 173 20-month-olds and 250 bred commercial cows and heifers, including the complete dispersal of longtime Gardner customer YOLO Ranch. Catalog available at GardnerAngus.com. Register for online bidding at liveauction.tv. At Gardner Angus Ranch, you aren't just buying a breed, you are buying a brand backed by 4 generations of disciplined seed stock production. See you May 13th at the ranch.
When it comes to stopping hornflies, cattlemen love their vet gun. Today they love it even more because Vet Gun now has a 1-2 punch with 2 VetCap insecticides. New AIM-A abamectin can be used in rotation with AIM-L for effective in-season control. Each delivers a unique mode of action to manage hornfly resistance. So start your in-season rotation program with AIM-L and new AIM-A abamectin vet caps from AgriLabs.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Hi there, folks, and welcome back to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thomson here with Dr. Casey Olson, who's a friend and colleague from the Department of Animal Sciences here at Kansas State University, and we're talking about control of Sericea lespedeza. And as we learned, it's a noxious plant that we don't want to have, and so why don't we just spray it?
Well, been doing that for about 30 years. Chemical control has been attempted since it first went on the noxious weed list here in Kansas. And at best, we've only achieved stalemate with chemical control. You heard me talking earlier about the robust physical structure of the plant. Well, the tall grass prairie in a healthy state also has a very robust physical structure. When you put chemical over the top of that canopy, it's very unlikely that the chemical will actually filter down to the ground level and kill seedlings. The other problem with spraying noxious weeds in the Flint Hills is that you will have noticed this is a very rough and rocky place. Okay, not a place you want to take a tractor and a spray rig that might cost you several $100,000.
Yeah. So chemicals are, they say stalemate. So we don't gain, we don't lose, but really we're trying to get these pastures back, and so some of the things that you've been looking at beyond chemicals, which really resonates well with where we're trying to go with environmental stewardship anyway, is some of the biological controls.
Agreed. And I've got to tip my hat to my colleagues in this area. Biological controls for Sericea lespedeza have been attempted probably for the last 2 decades with little success. Small ruminants, for example, sheep and goats, are more tannin tolerant than beef cattle are. And experimentally, it's been determined that very high stocking rates with sheep and goats will quickly diminish seed production and stand robustness of Sericea lespedeza. The difficulty with that approach is that culturally we are a beef cattle state, we're a beef cattle region, so that's problem number 1. Problem number 2, the infestation in Kansas alone is so large that it would take more goats, for example, than we have in the U.S. to stock our Flint Hills pastures
Just
to
in Kansas.
Eradicate the plant. Now, as with all noxious weeds that use seed production as their survival strategy, If you put grazing pressure on that plant at the right time, you greatly impair its capability to produce seed. What Sericea has working in its favor is tannin, condensed tannin. Right before that plant flowers and produces seed, it just loads itself up with condensed tannins. Very
So it's kind of
well designed.
Yeah. So then it's even though that's the perfect time to get the animals on it, it's, you know, to prevent the seeds, it's a bad time because we have such high levels of tannin.
That's right.
Well, it's a big problem. It's something that when we come back, we'll talk about some of your research with cattle and some of the things, the new approaches that y'all are taking to help us rid ourselves of this noxious weed in our natural prairie and grasslands. Glad you're here.
I'm excited to tell the story. Thank you, Dan.
Well, folks, thanks for watching Doc Talk. More with Dr. Casey Olson here in a minute. Folks, thanks for joining me on today's Cattle First Minute as sponsored by Beringer Ingelheim Vet Medica. You know, when we start to think about breeding season and turning bulls out, the one thing I can't emphasize enough is to get a breeding soundness exam done on your bulls before turnout. And some of the things that can happen during the winter, whether it's frostbite in certain areas of the body or there's things that can happen that will cause a bull to become infertile, are things that you need to make sure. The other thing that's very important on a breeding soundness exam is we have to make sure that we don't have lameness or issues with the feet, because no wheels, no calves. So making sure that we have a sound bull structurally, making sure that we have one that's fertile and one that can produce enough sperm and enough volume with enough motility with no defects in the sperm is vitally important to making sure every year before you turn out to ensure that you get a calf crop, at least from the bull's point of view.
My name is Dr. Cooper Williams, and I am a sports medicine specialist. I'm ICELP certified and certified within the Sports Medicine College as well. I just got finished teaching an ultrasound wet lab with a group here at ENSO Discoveries in Kansas. And it was a group of students that really had a lot of enthusiasm for learning new anatomy and really elucidating some of the structures that they're not comfortable with in their day-to-day practice. It's something that I really have a passion for doing, and I really love the scanning and basically how anatomy and clinical anatomy relates to how we approach treatment of horses, especially in regard to regenerative medicine. And ENSO Discoveries has specialized in both PRP and in stem cell research, and a lot of these regenerative techniques are used now to treat a variety of different structures in horses. And my job is to teach people the anatomy, the abnormal anatomy when we have damage, and basically how to ultrasound and how to be able to guide our treatments into these abnormal injuries, these structures that we need to be precise in how we approach treatment. And using these regenerative techniques, you can't just put them in wherever you want to. You have to direct these treatments exactly where an injury is so that they're going to work properly. And so that's what we were working on today in a variety of areas of the body: the neck, the back, the pelvic region, the distal limb, and reviewing how we look at these anatomical structures and determine if they're abnormal, and then how to go about treating these structures. And we actually did processing today and used some of these regenerative techniques today to help out a few of the patients that were part of the wet lab. We cannot be islands unto ourselves, and it's important for all of us to network. We all sort of learn little tricks and techniques. So I definitely would like to thank ENSO for the opportunity to be able to be here and interact with these students and to relay the information that I've gleaned over the years. And this is not the first time that I've been able to do this with ENSO. They've been very, very warm hosts and having us come out. And they obviously like to be able to put out this information and teach other veterinarians. And so their passion is my passion, and it's just being able to work together like this is fantastic.
You spent countless hours building a strong operation. But when it comes to trichomoniasis, The odds are stacked against you. It takes just one infected bull to take down the whole herd. Damage could include open cows, lost pregnancies, and lost profits. The good news is, with Trick Card, a herd doesn't have to feel like a house of cards.
Join us for the 4th annual Meeting Demand Sale at Gardner Angus Ranch, Monday, May 13th at 10 a.m. Up for sale are 173 20-month-olds and 250 bred commercial cows and heifers, including the complete dispersal of longtime Gardner customer YOLO Ranch. Catalog available at GardnerAngus.com. Register for online bidding at liveauction.tv. At Gardner Angus Ranch, you aren't just buying a breed, you are buying a brand backed by 4 generations of disciplined seed stock production. See you May 13th at the ranch.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
ValleyVet.com, ValleyVet.com, Valley Vet Supply.
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Folks, welcome back to DocTalk. We're glad you joined us. Dr. Casey Olson here, who's a friend and colleague from the Department of Animal Science, who's a full professor at Kansas State University, does research, teaches, and manages a very large cow-calf operation here in the Flint Hills of Kansas. And he's embarking upon some incredible research to rid our prairies of Sericea lespedeza, and really we want to know more about what you're doing and what you're proposing.
I'll do my best. And I got to call shenanigans a little bit, Dan, because eradication of any noxious weed, particularly this one, is an impossibility.
So control?
What we're after is naturalization. If we can get that plant to behave as any other plant on the prairie, we can learn to live with it, and we can actually make a valuable forage plant out of it. I likened it to alfalfa earlier. The chemical quality of Sericea lespedeza is very much like alfalfa. The only thing that's going against it, again, is that tannin problem. We had the idea several years ago that if there was a way to desensitize a beef calf or a beef cow to the effects of tannin, we could achieve that state of naturalization.
Wow. Well, so it's kind of like taking that wild colt or taking that, only in a plant form, and we're going to figure out a way that we can,
that's right,
make it into a productive citizen and something that we can use. So what are some of the things that y'all are going to try with your research?
Well, one thing let me start at the beginning. The way that we began this line of search is we began looking for compounds that the FDA generally regarded as safe, that had tannin binding properties, okay, that we could either feed to the animal or we could put on the plant that would prevent these tannins from interacting with dietary protein. We found a half a dozen that were on our short list, and we evaluated the most likely candidate. Corn steep liquor, folks, is a byproduct of corn sweetener production. It is abundant, it's safe, and it is relatively inexpensive. We found that when feeding between 2 pounds and 6 pounds of corn steep liquor, that we could mask or eliminate the negative effects of Sericea lespedeza consumption to cattle fed in confinement. Now, those last 2 words are the operative phrase there. What works in confinement doesn't necessarily work in a commercial scale grazing system.
Right. Big differences there. So any other compounds or that is this going to be easy to move back and forth, the corn steep liquor?
Unfortunately, it's not easy to move. It's a high moisture compound. It's very bulky, and you need special capabilities to handle it. But on the expense side of the ledger, it looks very, very favorable.
Cool.
I'm looking forward to telling you what it did for us out on the prairie this summer.
Well, cool. Well, then let's take a break. Folks, Dr. Casey Olson, professor here at Kansas State University. When we come back from the break, we're going to learn more about control of Sericea lespedeza. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you here in a minute.
Join us for the 4th Annual Meeting Demand Sale at Gardner Angus Ranch, Monday, May 13th at 10 a.m. Up for sale are 173 20-month-olds and 250 bred commercial cows and heifers, including the complete dispersal of longtime Gardner customer YOLO Ranch. Catalog available at GardnerAngus.com. Register for online bidding at liveauction.tv. At Gardner Angus Ranch, you aren't just buying a breed, you are buying a brand backed by 4 generations of disciplined seed stock production. See you May 13th at the ranch.
No matter where, no matter why, the Veterinary Health Center at Kansas State University is committed to providing quality patient care to animals and exceptional customer service to their owners. From routine checkups to emergency and specialty care, our world-renowned specialists and experienced professionals are here to discover, to teach, and to heal.
Let us know.
How can I help?
How can we help?
Some call it a come-from-behind victory, an unlikely win, a reversal of fortune, snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. This is our moment, our victory dance, because we choose confidence. We choose Zuprevo for BRD treatment. Ask your veterinarian to prescribe Zuprevo. Zuprevo is a fast-acting, long-lasting BRD treatment that you can count on to get the job done. Choose confidence. Choose Zuprevo from Merck Animal Health.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
ValleyVet.com, ValleyVet.com, Valley Vet Supply.
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Hi there, folks, and welcome back to DocTalk. I'm Dr. Dan Thomson, joined by Dr. Casey Olson, who's a professor and ruminant nutritionist in the Animal Science and Industries Department here at Kansas State University. And he's well sought after as a speaker on a national and international level, and we're lucky to have him here today. And today, Casey, you're talking about your new research program and looking at the control of Sericea lespedeza in our pastures.
Yes, sir. Now, in the last segment, we talked briefly about finding a particular compound that would negate the bad effects of tannin on beef cattle. We evaluated it extensively for cattle that were fed in a pen, eating out of a bunk. But when a cow or a beef calf has the opportunity to select a forage species while grazing here in the Flint Hills, he's got 600 choices.
Right.
He's got 600 choices. So why would a calf select a plant that has negative effects, okay, on its digestive process if it had an alternative? Well, we took our mitigator, that's what we call it. We took our mitigator corn steep liquor to the prairie 2 summers ago. We fed it in a commercial scale grazing system where we compared unsupplemented pastures with supplemented pastures. We had a very small budget, okay, so we made things work in a way that we thought any producer could use. We basically carried the steep liquor out to our beef cows 3 days a week. We fed it at a rate of about 1.2 pounds per day on average. And here's what happened, folks. When the condensed tannin concentration of steep liquor was low in June and July, there was no effect of the supplement. Okay, but when that plant gets ready to flower and set seed, its tannin concentration goes through the roof. And in July, August, and September, there was about a 50% increase in Sericea lespedeza intake by those supplemented cattle.
Wow.
Okay, and at the end of the season, in October, okay, after the plant had run its cycle for the year, tannin concentrations returned to normal, the effect was gone again. So we now have what I believe is a viable solution to use beef cattle as a biological control for this plant in a low-cost manner. I say low cost, and I better back that up. Right now, chemical control of Sericea lespedeza costs between $18 and $26 per acre. Okay, control of Sericea lespedeza through defoliation with beef cattle costs about $7 an acre.
And it's, you know, again, it's one of those sustainability efforts
Yes.
that you're naturalizing. It's incredible.
We think we're doing okay.
Well, I appreciate all that you're doing and really enjoy watching your research program.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you very much.
Thanks for being here today.
Glad to be here.
And thanks for watching DocTalk. If you want to know more about what Dr. Olson and I do here at Kansas State University, you can find us on the web at www.vet.ksu.edu. Also remember, we always recommend that you work with your local practitioner or veterinarian. We appreciate you watching DocTalk today. I'm Dr. Dan Thomson here from the College of Veterinary Medicine at Kansas State University, and I'll see you down the road.
Closed captioning brought to you by VetGun with Amel and new AMA Abamectin Vet Caps, the 1-2 punch against hornfly resistance from AgriLabs.
For more information about this program or previous programs, go to DocTalkTV.com.
DocTalk was brought to you by Merck Animal Health, the science of healthier animals.